took your hand. I said one word. Just one word, I said. Run.
Excuse me. What are you doing here?
We're looking for a girl.
We?
Good evening.
What do you want? Yes. Thank you. God. Keep warm.
There's only one thing.
Stop! You're making me giddy. No! You can't do this to me! No!
Shoes, I found my shoes.
No, you can't do that. Come on.
Unhand me that. A tear? Sarah Jane? No, don't cry. While this life,
Human history. What's he talking about?
It's something that happened when we first met.
I tell you, Brigadier, there's nothing to worry about. The brontosaurus is large and placid.
Doctor. Doctor.
It's the end. But the moment has been prepared for.
You've come to help me find the Zero Room. Welcome aboard. I'm the Doctor. Or will be if this regeneration works out. Feels different this time.
Doctor?
You're expecting someone else?
I...
There's 3 eyes in one breath. Makes you sound a rather egotistical young lady. Oh, carrot juice.
Carrot juice.
that was a nice nap. Now, down to business. Timing malfunction. The master. He's out there.
Scalpel?
I'm going to stop.
Somehow I don't think this man's name is Mr. Smith.
For every moment you made each other smile. For
United Public Radio, I'm Joe Montaldo, host of News on the Flip Side. Check us out every Saturday night, 6 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
You've been listening to News on the Flip Side with your hosts Joe Montaldo and Stephanie Bonetti. Join us each Saturday, 8 p.m. Central, to hear the latest news on current events. Expect the unexpected as our hosts offer their opinion on some of the most controversial topics of the day. News on the Flip Side, only on UPRN 107.9 New Orleans.
Whoa! Did you hear?
Listen to the Church of Mabus radio show, hosted by Jeffery Pritchett, 11 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights.
Follow your weird and journey into the high strange. Be sure to stop by
www.churchofmabusradio.com for upcoming shows, paranormal news, and show archives. That's www.churchofmabusradio.com.
You are invited to the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show every Friday night on United Public Radio Network from 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific Time, 12 to 1 a.m. Eastern.
Come check out Christina George's new show, Paranormal Connections, only on United Public Radio, Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. See you Monday. You want to learn about aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs, visitations, military abductions? Join Joe Montaldo on Wednesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. for his episodes of UFO Undercover.
The Church of Mabus.
Oh, I'm stoked. I'm ready. This is awesome.
Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night. We're just listening to the Prince Batman soundtrack and to Yes singing Owner of a Lonely Heart. Owner of a Lonely Heart. I used to listen to that on some like Fisher Price thing when I was like in elementary school, that song. I'm playing it over and over. For some reason I'm having weird childhood transgressions where like I'm reliving it on some level. So I just bought a bunch of weird alien and Bigfoot action figures and a Bigfoot lunchbox and Cthulhu action.
I saw those. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, they're pretty nice. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm regressing, but it's probably a good thing.
Planets in retrograde.
Yeah, let's do it. There's these UFO, these alien. It's from Shadowbox Collectibles, and they put out this line of alien action figures back in the 90s and late 80s. There's like a Nordic woman, an alien gray, Men in Black. There's little bitty grays and Roswell aliens. There's a cool reptilian, but it's pretty much like the only authentic alien stuff out there. Like there's some other stuff, but this is definitely be the best for sure. I have a set of them coming in for $20 from Hong Kong, which is pretty good price because I just put them on my Facebook wall. But that's a pretty good price because separately they're like $40 at some places. So I don't know. Hopefully they're not imitations. They look like the real deal. But even if they're imitations, I'll live with that. That's pretty cool. I saw some on that. What is that Pawn Star show? I haven't watched it in a long time. I know one of the guys went to jail for meth or something. But they brought in some never-ending story imitation toys from Mexico that are worth a lot of money. So even imitations could be worth money in the future with some of this weird stuff. But you listen to 107.7 New Orleans and 105.3 Henderson Point, Mississippi. We got Jay McNicholas with us here tonight.
Good evening.
Good evening. I know one thing, Mercury retrograde that's going on, and there's 4 other planets that are turning. So I guess the 4 other ones are still turning, but they've been squeezing my guts out. And
hopefully no bitches tonight.
Yeah, hopefully I don't croak live on air. No, but Mercury is transiting over the sun May 9th. Mercury, the coyote. And Coyote's walking backwards right now because it's Mercury retrograde. So lots of coyote going on for sure. And then he's going to pass over the sun May 9th. You can watch it online at certain places, probably like space.com or something like that. And then I was just talking to Joe about Planet X and all that stuff. Like, I used to laugh about Planet X a lot. Like, I used to, ha ha ha, Planet X. And it's still kind of funny, some of it. But lately, there's a lot of weird stuff going on with Phantom Planets. And we've talked about this a little bit on the show. But Planet 9, like there's all these scientists saying that there's roaming planets and there may be one outside of our solar system. Just a lot of weird. It's really heating up. And where I write articles at before it's news, the articles lately are heating up like crazy with this stuff. And what's really even more a little creepier about it is Graham Hancock just put out a book, Magicians, Christ, I just forgot the name of it.
Magicians of the Gods.
Yeah, Magicians of the Gods. And it's about a big thing coming to smack us, too, and kill us all. And it's something about
a spoiler, right?
That has happened before. So that's from Graham Hancock. So that kind of creeps me out because he's, like, pretty well respected.
Yeah, and thanks for the spoiler. I just picked that book up a few weeks ago.
Need to read it. It looks deep.
Yeah, it's huge. I got the hardback.
Seems more terrifying than a Stephen King book.
Reality is more scary than fiction, yeah.
Like the whole premise of it is us dying from some phantom planet or meteor or comet. So, oh yeah, speaking of which, I need to plug Stephen King's new book. I just got it from the publicist, and I'm a huge Stephen King admirer. It's called End of Watch. It's the start of a trilogy from Stephen King, and that's by Simon & Schuster. And this is the advanced uncorrected proof copy. That's right, because it was special. So it's not out yet, but I'm about to start it after I read my Brian Keene, The Rising zombie book I'm reading. After that, I got to start up on Stephen King. And then Stephen King's son, Joe Hill, has a new book coming out, Fireman, from horror. His son writes horror. Got some good titles out there. One's about a Nosferatu. Pretty good. Well, tonight's guest is Kirk Morgan, and we're going to get started. This show's title, Alien Melodies of the Blessed and Damned. I don't know where that came from, but hey, it sounded good, right?
Right, it definitely fits the music that I was writing.
So if you could, first off, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Happy birthday to you. Happy
right, man.
To you. I'll stop for your sanity.
You're making me feel weird, man. Well, my name's Kirk. I'm living here in Vermont, and a little bit of background history. I was in the U.S. Marine Corps for 4 years, station in California. Got out of that and started pursuing music. And when I wasn't a millionaire by the time I was 28, I knew things had to change, and it just naturally changed, and I ended up becoming obsessed with lifting weights and fitness. Started college then with a major of marketing and a minor of exercise physiology. And right around in the middle of college, I ended up meeting my biological mother, which is a trip in itself. And yeah, the connections for all these things are ridiculous. But ended up in New York City right after college in 2000. I stayed down there for 7 years before moving back up to Vermont to help my adopted mom up here. And during that time, that it's all the bizarre stuff really starts coming to a head in 2007 when I'm up here, and I'm dating online. I met a nice Mohawk woman over in Lake George, New York, and we started dating. Third date into it, she tells me I'm psychic. And psychics, UFOs, ghosts and everything, I kind of instinctually always knew that there was a good possibility that, that's a reality. So I wasn't, laughing at this woman or anything, and I was thinking, I'm just going to test her. And when I tested her, she blew my brain apart. She just exact things that, there's no way she could have known. Then moving on, we separated, but we're still in contact. She's still a good friend. My mother passed, and it was like, have you heard of Kundalini rising?
Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what happened to me. All of a sudden, boom, really spiritual. Kind of shut myself off of women for a while. And then all this great stuff started happening. I started seeing UFOs. A couple years after that, I started, by total chance, meeting some of the main people involved in this Rendlesham Forest. And that turned into me going to an abduction event in Portland, Maine last year and being friends with a lot of those people. And it seems like my life is pointed in some kind of direction. And it's been very, very...
Someone in the chat room. Someone in the chat room said you were born the same day as Sigmund Freud.
Yep, it's Sigmund Freud. Oh God, what's his name? George Clooney.
Oh, okay. George Clooney.
And actually, Dr. Bruce Maccabee.
Oh, I know Bruce. He's sent me to.
And yeah, he was born right in the hospital right in Rutland here.
Awesome. Yeah, I know Bruce. He sent me a CD of his music in the mail once for a compilation of weird music I was putting together for people about UFO stuff, and he sent me he said I could use any of it. It was pretty cool.
Right. What type of music was it?
It was like weird electronic stuff, like instrumental, strange, like some Herbie Hancock weird kind of stuff.
Kind of like new age and jazz mixed together.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, kind of different.
It's amazing how many musicians are involved in all this.
So, what kind of music do you do? I mean, is it like metal? What is your band?
Metal. Yeah, it was when I took quite a few years off of playing, and when I picked it back up, that was my main goal, to get a metal band. And this is, I'm in a little tiny town in the middle of Vermont, so there's not that many musicians, but I ended up meeting a few people, and it just started working out really good. And they were beginners, so it was nice. I could play. They were playing simple stuff, and I was able to write complicated bass lines and not have it sound bad. And right now I'm actually between bands and I'm writing solo music, which I'm playing the bass and singing over that. And I got one song about my buddy Eric and another UFO song about just things in general. It's called The Estimate of the Situation.
Yeah, metal.
Yep. I can't help it. Even with no guitar and fast drums behind my voice, I sound like I'm singing metal.
Well, nothing wrong with that. Metal, keep it alive, brother, because it seems it's alive, but when it comes to like commercial stuff, it's dead. Like all these, it's like I finally find some metal videos on VH1 they play like late at night. I was like, what the hell happened to all the metal on TV? It's gone. But I finally
it's gone.
As far as MTV, it's sad what they've done to metal. They've raped metal.
Yeah, who knows what those nutcases are doing at MTV, and they're giving it a little bit of airtime on VH1 Classic, and but it's still. I mean, there's all kinds of kids that I meet that are just starting off as musicians, and they want to learn how to play the old '80s metal and everything. That stuff's going to be around forever.
It definitely could use a rebirth of some sort when it comes to commercial, to get more people into it, because you turn on MTV now, it's Miley Cyrus with hairy armpits floating around like an astronaut twerking.
Yeah, she overdosed things just a little bit.
I'm like, what the hell, man? The only thing I could stomach on MTV now is that Scream show they did and that Catfish show. That's it. Anything else I can't. I turn it. And I can't even stand in between, like, waiting for the next segment. I can't stand the commercials. It's like, thank God I have satellite satellite cable. I can fast forward through the stuff.
Yeah, since the last couple of years, it's the only thing I'll watch is History Channel. And, you were talking about the Pawn Stars?
Yeah.
I got a friend that just got a job out there.
It's in Florida, ain't it?
No, it's that with Chumley and all that. They're in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
There's another one. There's another one called Cajun Pawn Stars, and that's I think he was in Louisiana possibly.
That Chumley guy, like, what, automatic weapons and meth and never.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that. Yeah, I saw the general announcement where he got arrested, and my buddy over there is like probably signing stuff saying he wouldn't talk about anything about these people. But I kind of saw that coming with Chumley because he's truly not that intelligent, but he's thinking he's a big shot now.
The other son too looks like he'd be snorting up some stuff.
Possibly. Oh my God, he's very, like, you can tell he was spoiled growing up. Just the way he kind of acts.
I haven't watched that show in a while.
You know what? The really nice thing about the show, it's very much like history lessons with the different objects that come in and they describe things, and it's that and American Pickers. It's kind of like basically a true history lesson.
Yeah, I like that show too. But the American Pickers, that wife of his, my God, like that's one reason that his wife is smoking hot. The metal goth chick that's on that American Pickers show.
Oh yeah, she's a manager. Yep, I know, I love her. She started getting she's making all this money now, so she's getting really tatted up.
Yeah.
And I haven't had any new tattoos in 30 years, so I
I
actually have my 2 new tattoos. You know the turkey UFO pictures where they have, you can see the aliens in them?
Yeah.
Dr. Roger Lear took these ones. I have I have a tattoo of that, and right below it I have the tattoo of the Nick Minville, I think, the May 1950 Oregon. A couple famous UFO pictures of that, and I'm just putting them right at my forearm. I'm going to put the Rendlesham Forest one next, and our buddy Eric's one up there too.
Yeah, I need some more tattoos. It's been a while. I have 4, and I haven't had one. After my dad died in my early 20s, I went nuts and got a bunch of crazy tattoos. I have a Dracula carrying his bride. I have a wolf. I have an H.G. Geiger piece, and I have a Jonah Hex from those old Jonah Hex comic books. They're really going to look great in about 20 more years, but so far so good.
Yeah, well, what year did you get those?
In my early 20s. I'm 41 now.
Oh, so it was like mid-90s?
Yeah, I believe so. I'm terrible. It was about 94, 95, 96.
Yeah. That was kind of before tats really came into fashion, like they have in the last, maybe six years. I liked having my tattoos when, it was not a good thing to have tattoos. I loved it, and now it doesn't make much. Nobody bats an eye at it now.
Now, is that a Dracula on your arm? Yes, it is.
No, I have actually a kind of a pegacon on my inside forearm. A tiger on the outside on the other arm. I got a couple of skulls, and who knows what's going to become next.
So with all the weight training and all that stuff, I'm trying to do more exercise and stuff. I'm overweight. I've battled with it all my entire life. And I don't eat a lot either. I eat like 2 meals a day. I don't do anything weird like on those shows, like 400 Snickers or something weird. I try to walk a lot, but I'm trying to do stuff to lose some weight before I croak. I'm like 260 now, but I'm 6'2", luckily. Thank God.
It's right with you. That's you're getting close to where I started working out. I was 270, and boom, and dropped a ton of weight. I already had experience with bodybuilding and everything when I was a teenager, so when I went back into it, just things started changing really fast.
So that's
it's
up, just pumping metal.
Pump me up, lifting iron.
Your diet or
everything. Oh yeah, that's the most important part. So I'm not sure if your metabolism is slowed down because you're eating so little, but that could be one problem. If you don't feed your body, your metabolism will drop how many calories you're burning per day just to save itself.
I think a big part.
So you might have to eat.
Yeah.
You might have to go like four meals a day, only a little bit smaller than the two together.
Yeah. I work at home, so I think a big part of it is I don't move enough.
Yeah.
More.
Well, I actually have kidney failure, and so I go to the hospital 3 times a week, and I'm hooked up to the machine like 5 hours 3 times a week.
Wow, what happened with the kidneys?
Don't know what happened with the kidneys, except for they just decided to stop working.
Yeah.
And so I call it my government job, and they pay me to go and clean my blood, and then I just sit there with the computer the whole time researching, all my favorite things to research.
Definitely. Well, that gives you some downtime at least. Well, if you don't mind me asking, you probably don't care. How old are you? You're not a woman, so you're probably
I've made it 50 years.
50 years, yeah.
I have so many friends that say he's not going to make it to 50. No,
your astrological thing?
Taurus.
I mean, what are you? I'm a Capricorn. What is your astrological sign?
The Taurus.
Taurus. What are you, Jay?
I am Libra the bull. Or the scales.
What is your Chinese?
I think it's horse. I'm going to be 50 this year also, and I think 66 was the year of the horse.
I'm a tiger.
Yeah. I do believe it is. Yeah, I remember seeing horse.
Well, what is your Chinese thing, Kurt?
Oh, horse.
Oh, okay. Tiger and horse are supposed to be good buddies. I was making sure none of you were monkeys, because monkeys hate tigers.
Yeah, no, monkey and friends in the Chinese astrology.
They're enemies. And it's the year of the monkey, so this year, this monkey's just throwing doo-doo at me all year.
That's interesting. I mean, I've talked with some people that know, why the positions of the planets have an effect on you when you're born like that. And I would say it has a lot to do with what's the line of gravity from the different planets and the sun and everything. And it's really remarkable how it impacts your personality.
Yeah, there's something.
I don't know if you've ever done one of those astrology charts where it plots every planet at your time of birth, but those are really accurate for me.
Yeah, I've had those done, and I know Sagittarius is my some kind of sign, other part of it. So when did your UFO stuff start? You actually saw UFOs? What happened?
Well, recently, it pretty much lined up with me going through this spiritual increase, which is the beginning of 2013. And it was actually coming from a date, and this date ended up being in Cherokee, and unique things happen when I get around Native Americans, and she's the worst date I've ever had. And she was in our next door state in New Hampshire. So I'm driving back into Vermont from New Hampshire. It's about 9 o'clock at night, and a white glowing sphere looked about 10 to 12 feet in diameter, probably about 300 feet up, just cruised right over my vehicle. And you start running things that you know of through your head, and it's not matching anything. And I was having a blast. I'm like, holy shit! Sorry for swearing. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy that I'd finally seen something. It was really funny. I came back, and my roommate, I was telling him, and he's really doubting it. So 3 months later, he's leaving to go to get something to eat at night, and he leaves, and I see my phone ringing. Like 3 minutes later, he's like, "Hey, dude, go out in the driveway and look up to the left." So I go out there. There is a moving van-size oval red light, stationary. Above, it looked like an intersection that's only barely a mile away from my house. And I'm just like, wow, and he's freaking out. He's like, is that it? I'm like, yes. I'm like, that is nothing but a UFO. And so now we're looking at this from two different positions in Rutland. And we just watched it. To me, it looked like it backed into a cloud and disappeared, but there was no cloud there. And my friend Mike said he saw it shoot off to the back. So that was number two. Now I'm getting really fascinated. Another sighting in December. It wasn't a good sighting like the first two. It was a very bright-looking star, and it was another friend that called me who was driving north, who was looking at this. And we're both looking at it, and we've seen some red lights going off and on underneath it. I'm like, oh, yeah. He saw it too. My fourth was I was actually engaged in driving to a gig. I'm in my vehicle by myself. My guitarist, his girlfriend, and her daughter in the vehicle behind me were waiting at a red light. I get a text, and it says, orb to the left. And I looked up, and there's this, to me, it didn't look like an orb. It looked a little bit more ellipse, but really bright, this color of the sun, only the sun was on the backside of it. And it just went back and forth a few times and popped right out.
Oh.
and now it's like, dang, I haven't seen anything, I guess, in a year now.
Any weird dreams about aliens?
No. I am going to get checked, though. Now that I witnessed all this stuff, I was talking with somebody, and he's making me think, when did this weird stuff start happening? And pretty much the first real weird thing was, it was with a high school class trip to Bermuda, and I was on a moped with a friend in front of me. It was starting to get dusk. I started getting this weird ringing in my head. And in my imagination, for some reason, I looked out and there was a flying saucer flying over the water, but keeping pace with me. And I was just like enjoying the thought. Yeah. And it didn't seem weird or anything, but then I started getting a voice in my head saying, you're going to die, you're going to die. And actually, in my head, I'm like trying to talk to this other voice, like, what the, shut up. you don't know what I'm talking about. A few more times, and I had to pull over my moped. Right then, a car came by me, and if I didn't pull over, I would have been gone. And pull up around the corner, and there's my buddy on his moped, and he was almost hit. But I didn't say anything. I totally forgot about the UFO thing. So I'm actually going to get some hypnotic regression and see if anything might have happened with that.
So why did you go on vacation?
There's no other indications, but that is like when my whole bizarre life kind of started.
Why did you go on vacation to the Bermuda Triangle?
That's where my high school was going.
Whose idea was that?
Perfect. Right? That's just like everything else that's going on.
Well, hey, I'm going to turn it over to Jay for a minute to get into some alien stuff with you while I take a breather. So, Jay, go ahead, Jay.
All right. I was reading on the bio on our page for the show. You mentioned something that happened in the Marines, that you were chased by a UFO?
Yes. I was at Camp Pendleton, and this is probably 85. And right next to, I was way inland from, Pendleton goes all the way to the California shore and then goes pretty far inland. I was pretty far inland, and that part of the base has Fallbrook Naval Weapons Station there, and it's all bunkers, and it's where they have a lot of nuclear weapons stored. But you can, as Marines, we can go in the fence, check in, and drive straight through. You're not allowed to stop or anything. Go through the other end of the fence, and you're in Fallbrook, California. So me and some buddies were driving through. I was in the back seat. It was night, and all I can remember is I don't even remember a shape or anything, but I remember like a red glow, and the three other guys in the vehicle are losing their shit. They're all freaking out. We're going faster and faster, trying to get away from it, and I'm kind of in the back seat with my fingers in my ears, going la la la. I'm in a better place. And actually talking to Larry Warren, I ended up remembering that. because at the time it just didn't make any sense to my head. So I was just going to shut it out. And talking with these guys from Rendlesham, I ended up remembering that again. And it makes total sense. The nuclear weapons and everything.
And so was that your first experience with UFOs?
Except for what I was imagining in Bermuda, yeah, that was the first thing where, you know, the people around me are reacting to it, and it's not just something I'm seeing.
And now, for me, I'd never had any sort of traumatic experience before I first saw UFOs or Bigfoot or any of that kind of paranormal stuff. So it seems you and Jeffrey both had a sort of a traumatic thing in your lives first, and then you had the experiences with UFOs. So do you think that you have to have that kind of trauma to get into it, or were you just had it, like you said earlier, you had it in the back of your mind, but you weren't really into it? So were you?
It didn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, so it didn't make sense to you before the trauma, and then you had the traumatic experiences, and then boom, the UFO experiences happen, and now they make sense.
Right. I couldn't figure it out. It was, sounding like Colonel Corso, I took that bit of information and stuck it in the back of my head until I could corroborate it with something.
So now the UFOs that you have seen, you said mentioned 4 or 5 of them. Are they all daylight or all night sightings?
The first 3 were night sightings, and the 4th was actually, still fairly light.
So were you able to identify the exact shape of the craft in most of these experiences, or only in a couple of them?
In 3 of them, yes. The first one was the perfectly round sphere, white glowing sphere, about 12 feet in diameter, which has actually been seen in this. There's a few videos of it online. People have seen it around this part of Vermont for a couple of years. And actually, a Bigfoot team that was close by that split up for the night ended up seeing pretty much the same thing. The second one was that the moving van-sized oval red light, defined lines. There wasn't like just a white or red blob flashing or anything. It was just sitting there glowing one color and then just dissipated. Third one, it was too far away to tell, and the 4th one, which was kind of during the day, it looked like an ellipse to me and glowing just about the same color as the sun.
Wow. And have you been able to identify what aliens may have been operating this craft? Because there's some people that try to identify what aliens operate, which type of craft, and I don't know if you've done any of that kind of research, but I get into. How can you know which alien is operating which craft?
Are you talking about the people that follow Pleiadians and everything, talking like that?
Yeah, there's sometimes you see those. It's like a ship identification chart, and it'll say, this ship is run by the Greys, and this type of ship is run by the Pleiadians, et cetera. I don't really buy into that kind of research. I think that's a little far fetched, but
yeah, that's hard. Unless I think my ex-girlfriend, that was a good psychic, might be able to figure it out a little bit.
Yeah,
just might get a flash.
Yeah, and there are allegedly several books. Like there's a book from Russia that identifies aliens and what type of craft they have, and there's a book from the American top secret community. And you can get parts of it on this thing called the Blue Planet Project, and they allegedly have I think 80 species of aliens and what type of crafts some of them operate. But again, it's just speculation. So let's get into the aliens. What kind of aliens do you know of, and which ones do you believe are currently visiting the planet?
80 different species actually sounds reasonable to me. I mean, and because they're all way far beyond our intelligence and can conceal when they're, here. And they can even come in and out without us knowing because of how they're manipulating gravity and when I met this girlfriend that's a psychic, she actually was tuned in when I was asking her questions. Just before I asked her about aliens, she goes, yes, there's aliens. And first thing she said was, and they're spiritual. And that bit of information did that paradigm shift in my head. That whole thing where reality flipped over and just aliens being spiritual, really, all of a sudden I could understand things more. She told me about reptilians. She told me about Bigfoot, being an alien. She didn't really go much into the grays or anything, but she said there's ones that look like people, and if she's seen them walking around like George before. And I'm like, you see one, you point it out. But then there's my friend Eric and his kids who were abductees, and that pretty much just saw a gray alien. And they have pictures of it in their phone on and everything.
They have pictures of the alien or the alien craft on their lawn?
The alien.
Oh, wow. I'd like to see that. There are so pictures of them, actual aliens. I'd like to see that.
Yeah. They had a lot more, and obviously the government hacked them all off the phones and wherever they sent them within the next day, but they were able to save 2 on a little memory stick. So the only way you can show me is we have to go to a computer that's not plugged in or anything, and then you can show me the pictures. The daughter ended up painting a picture of this gray alien. Typical gray, except for it didn't have the black eye coverings on. It was a regular pupil and everything, blue eyes. Eric was telling me how he freaked out. He was like telling his daughter, "Don't get close to it. Don't get close to it. Don't." And she's shooting the video, and she goes, "Dad, he wants to, meet you." And Eric, he's like, I didn't know if I was freaking out more for this alien or my daughter saying that this thing wants to meet me. He said, and then the thing moved its shoulder, and I locked it. I grabbed my daughter, ran back inside the apartment, locked the doors, and...
You bring up a pretty good point that with the black eye coverings, a lot of descriptions say they have, deep black eyes, and you mentioned Colonel Corso earlier. In his book, he actually writes about those as actually being like an electronic contact lens. It offers them night vision and maybe even other kinds of, like on-screen heads-up data displays. And they took those lenses from an alien that allegedly one of the ones that came out of the craft from Roswell, and turned that into what we now have as the Starlight Scope for night vision. So what do you know about that? I mean, is your experience same as mine from the book that Corso wrote?
Yeah, I got my major clue for that, I think, from Corso. And then I've seen it in a few other areas spoken about. But this is where I get to bring the Whitehall Bigfoot into the play. Now, all over the world, you have the Yeti and the Sasquatch and Bigfoot, but I've never seen anywhere where Bigfoot has glowing red eyes. And a few witnesses had said it looked like lasers coming out, and not a constant flow, but like a zzz. And you could see what it was looking at because these lasers were pointing right at it. And now I think that is some kind of diagnostic type of apparatus that these particular Bigfoot might be wearing.
Or it could be an IR, illuminator for a night vision system. But personally, I think there are 2 different types of Bigfoot. I think there's one that is from this planet, that is a real Bigfoot, and I have seen that creature, and it is a real flesh and blood creature. I don't believe it's from another planet. The possibility exists, however. Going back to the Blue Planet Project book I was talking about, in that book, in one of those 80 species they describe, one of those creatures is Bigfoot-like and or Wookiee-like. It's like a 9 to 10 creature. It's covered in hair and has hominid features. 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 eyes, 2 ears, etc. So the ones where they describe the red eyes, I'm thinking that's either they're, putting something else into the story that wasn't there originally, or maybe it's a technological species like the Wookiees that are visiting this planet. But I think Bigfoot, what most people have seen as Bigfoot, is just a terrestrial being that avoids humans like the plague.
Yep. Could be, and like what you said, there could be both going on. Because it had, again, the psychic who's Mohawk, and then another Indian woman from Abenaki tribe who's fairly psychic too. Both told me that Bigfoot's an alien. And, for me that answers a lot of questions. But it's, the amount we see Bigfoot compared to even UFOs, there's like so few sightings. That's a way bigger mystery than UFOs.
Yeah, Bigfoot, I think, is a lot more elusive than UFOs. Because the way UFOs work, some of the species are actually, actively interacting with humans for whatever purpose, whether it's nefarious or benign or what have you. But the Bigfoot creature it knows human beings exclusively well, and well enough to know that we're dangerous. So it avoids us in almost every aspect, except for a few things where they become curious for whatever reason, and then, once they're seen, they take off. I'll tell you my experience. I was about 10 years old, and I was in Ohio, and it was around Thanksgiving, and I was at my cousin's house, and all of our parents had gone out to dinner. My brother and sister were at another cousin's house, so they didn't get to see this, unfortunately, but we were in one of the upstairs bedrooms, second story of the house, jumping on this bed in this one bedroom and making noise and just playing. And I had two cousins that were babies. They were, 1 year old or what have you, still in diapers. And I start smelling this like a dirty diaper smell, and I'm like, say to my one cousin, hey, one of the babies has a diaper problem. Let's take them downstairs and have the babysitter fix them. And as soon as I said that, I looked out the window, which was open, but there was a screen window there. And it's an old man's face. I would say the creature was probably between 30 and 50 years old. Long hair, had a mustache, bare eyes, bare skin around the eyes, bare skin around the mouth. And
was it gray? Was it graying at all?
Was it what?
Was it graying at all? Like some of the hair turning white?
Well, lighter color. I would say white, but it was like dark brown mostly. But in places there was kind of a blondish color starting to happen in. So it looked like it was aging, and then it had this face of curiosity. The face looked like it was just curious and had kind of a jovial expression. And then it saw me seeing him, and in a flash, the face went to anger, and it looked me right in my eyes and screamed at me, and then took off. And when it was standing on a little toy house, they had a clubhouse, a little wooden clubhouse in the backyard that it was standing on. We didn't know that at the time, but he was standing on that. So it jumped off. We hear this large thud, and we all run downstairs to the babysitter. And as soon as we get down there to her, through the big window in the back of the house, we see this 10 to 12-foot creature run through the backyard. And literally, in 2 or 3 bounds, it cleared probably a half an acre of yard. It was amazing. And we were scared the rest of the night. We were so freaked out. We hung out with the babysitter until our parents came home at midnight, 1 o'clock.
Can you reenact the scream?
No, I can't copy it. But every time I hear an authentic Bigfoot howl, the hairs on the back of my neck stand straight up, and I know it's authentic if it is. If it's not authentic,
have you ever heard Linda Moulton Howell's first video on her Earth Files YouTube channel? It has a Bigfoot scream in it. I don't know if you've ever heard that one, but that one. It's the first one I heard where I'm like, yeah, that would freak me out.
Yeah, no, it does. It's scary. Today I hear that noise and it just the yellow streak goes right down the center of my back. But I haven't heard her howl, but I've heard several others. There's a few authentic ones because, like I said, when it's authentic, the fight or flight response happens immediately. But the ones on
they've gotten some recordings of supposed Bigfoot talking, and it's really weird. Like I heard it on a documentary, and there was this Russian guy, and he reenacted it, and it was the weirdest thing. It was like this weird gibberish.
Must be really, really deep.
It was kind of like...
Oh, it's kind of in the higher register?
Yeah, a lot higher, like chipmunk, sort of.
Yeah, it is weird. I've heard that before, and that Russian guy, too. It is bizarre. There's also people that report, I've heard them talking, not howling, but talking like, even in sort of like a broken English kind of thing. I haven't heard any recordings of that, but they definitely have a language, but for whatever purpose. They can speak to each other.
On that Joe Rogan show or something, they had a recording, and this was a separate show. Like the Russian guy reenacting that weird talking was on a whole other documentary. And then one day I saw on Joe Rogan, they played this audio, and it sounded just like that Russian dude, like that same weird. And those are two separate shows, not connected in any way.
Yeah.
They sound weird, like Ewoks.
Going back to aliens real quick. Went to the Experiencers Speak event last year in Portland, Maine, and I ended up making a lot of friends at that. Travis Walton, Eric, and Tom Reed. 4 people came in towards the end when Travis was showing his new documentary. And now I didn't see them. And this came out on Facebook just a few days after. And I was just like really skeptical. I am definitely a critical thinker and with my mind very open. And I heard them talking about these people. The people at the hotel were asking the event promoters about these people because everybody's asking about them. There's a picture floating around of them somewhere. And I'm just like, I'm still not believing it too much, and I got into researching blue people because I went and told one of my best friends is a pediatrician, and I told him about these blue people that came in that Eric ended up talking to him. That's when I started believing, because Eric said he was talking right to him. When my friend Lou, the doctor, said the college girl had come in a few years ago to his office because she turned blue. And they didn't have any diagnosis. They're like, maybe your friends played a trick on you, but he had seen her at college 6 months later, and she's still blue. There is a really rare blood disease that can turn you blue. Like there's the silver that you drink. You can turn blue from that.
Yeah, colloidal silver.
Yeah. And but with these other people, it's a blood disorder. But I mean, who the hell knows if the disorder is because of some kind of alien genes that have been mixed in, and so it's a huge mystery for me. I'm going to keep an eye out for him this year when I go up.
Jay, tell me what Joe says in the chat room, because I got kicked off Pal Talk, and I'm going to try to come back in there, but who knows if it's going to let me.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago he said 7, so we got a few minutes coming. Well, probably more like 2 minutes now.
We're going to go on break, and we'll come back for the rest of the show. How much time do you have, Kurt? Can you do another 50 minutes, or do you need less than that?
Yeah, I could do 40.
Okay, that's cool. All right,
I can stretch it out. To get me talking about all the subjects and everything, I can definitely take up some airspace with my hot air.
We have other things to discuss for sure. It goes by fast. Radio time is weird. You would think like a 2 hour.
This is my first real radio interview.
Nice. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
But it's with a movie, 2 hours seems like a long time to me, but radio, it's weird. It goes by fast. It's faster than a movie.
Yeah, it's the movie not participating in and this is, your brain's active, and
Well, we're going to go on break now, and then we'll come back for the rest of the show.
You want me to stay online?
Yeah, just don't hang up. If you need to put the phone down or something, that's fine. But we'll be back in about 8 minutes.
Okay, cool.
All right. Let's talk of it, if possible.
Are you okay, Mom? Yes, I am.
You can never go.
Does it almost feel like you've been here before?
Hello, you're listening to United Public Radio. I'm Joe Montaldo, host of News on the Flip Side. Check us out every Saturday night, 6 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
You've been listening to News on the Flip Side with your hosts Joe Montaldo and Stephanie Bonetti. Join us each Saturday, 8 p.m. Central, to hear the latest news on current events. Expect the unexpected as our hosts offer their opinion on some of the most controversial topics of the day. News on the Flip Side, only on UPRN 107.9 New Orleans.
Whoa! Did you hear?
Listen to the Church of Mabus radio show, hosted by Jeffery Pritchett, 11 p.m. Eastern, Saturday nights.
Follow your weird and journey into the high strange. Be sure to stop by
churchofmabusradio.com for upcoming shows, paranormal news, and show archives. That's churchofmabusradio.com.
You are invited to the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show every Friday night on United Public Radio Network from 9 to 10 p.m. Pacific Time, 12 to 1 a.m. Eastern Time with your spiritual warrior goddess, Kathy Bilski. Kathy will share all the old truths the Illuminati tries to keep secret. Kathy also gives you the opportunity to join in with planetary healing light work that will help us manifest World Enlightenment 2016. So let's get high and fly into new possibilities. So join Kathy every Friday night on UPRN, the Quantum Leap Let Light Unite show. A very powerful happening.
Do you love sports? Okay, maybe just at least pay attention to sports. Then check out the Big Shoulder Sports Show, Tuesday night, 7 to 9 Eastern on UPRNTalkRadio.com and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. JT, Justin, and I spill our guts about all things Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, Bulls, and Bears with no filter, the way nature intended sports to be heard. We also cover the national news in the sports world, but really, that's just because we have to. The Big Shoulder Sports Show, live Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on UPRNTalkRadio.com and 107.7 FM out of New Orleans. Or check out the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, and SoundCloud. 3 guys saying words, making radio happen every week.
Hello, this is Angela Thomas with a message about living life to the fullest. As a psychic clairvoyant, I often give insights to one's career path, financial situation, or relationship. Whether one is happy or not in their current situation, where he or she is right now is an important part of learning valuable lessons that can lead to fulfilling one's life purpose. If I can offer you insights, feel free to contact me at 636-278-2272. Again, 636-278-2272, or visit my website, angelathomas.org. I'm considered a psychic, so I provide accurate and detailed psychic readings for individuals as well as groups. Remember, no matter what influences your life at the moment, live life to the fullest. Stay in gratitude, count your blessings, and prepare yourself for more opportunities around the corner. I'm Psychic Angela Thomas, and my website is angelathomas.org.
The UPRN family of shows would like to take a moment to thank our loyal listeners for tuning in to UPRNTalkRadio.com along with 107.7 FM New Orleans, broadcasting on multiple platforms like Live 365, Ustream, and Shoutcast. has made the UPRN the longest-running, highly rated, and best source of quality, unique programming that is not afraid of the status quo in alternative media. This station has a solid course of shows and hosts that refuse to get stuck in a rut or be overrun by a groupthink mentality, because station owner, host, and iCar founder Joe Montaldo knows the value of letting his talented stable of hosts grow uninhibited. In this genre, that's an accomplishment which many in alternative radio are striving for, but are left consistently wanting. This is all made possible because of you, the listener, that tunes in live every night, who can tell the difference that independent thinking makes. The best way to show our appreciation is to thank you and continue to allow our listeners the ability to download the archives of all the shows free of charge on iTunes, Podbean, and SoundCloud. No monthly fees, no cost to download individual shows, and none of the constant hassling for donations. That's the UPRNradio.com difference. So stick around, there's much more to come with new shows on the way. For now, feel free to join your favorite show live in the Pal Talk chat room, easily accessible off UPRNtalkradio.com, and share the experience of listening live with other listeners from around the world. So thanks for listening, and thank you for being a part of the UPRNtalkradio.com family of listeners.
Hi, come check out Christina George's new show, Aliens, UFOs, and Beyond, Thursday night, 8 p.m. See you Thursday, Jeff. Hi, I'm Joe Montaldo, and you're listening to United Public Radio. Come check out Christina George's new show, Paranormal Connections, only on United Public Radio, Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. See you Monday. You want to learn about aliens, extraterrestrials, UFOs, visitations, military abductions? Join Joe Montaldo on Wednesday night, 8 to 10 p.m. for his episodes of UFO Undercover.
If you are listening to the show and wish to join us in the chat room, visit paltalk.com. Go to the social issues, select Other, and enter the UFO Paranormal Radio Network.
Hello, you're listening to United Public Radio. I'm Joe Montaldo, host of News on the Flip Side. Check us out every Saturday night, 6 to 9 p.m. Central Time.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Benetti, and along with Joe Montaldo, we host News on the Flip Side. Come join us every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central for our 3-hour program. We have opinions on everything, and we're not afraid to share them. False history gets made all day, every day. The truth of the new is never on the news, but you can find it here with News on the Flip Side. Remember, don't be politically correct. Just be correct. Join us.
Deeper.
could go mad?
The Church of Mabus.
I'm stoked. I'm ready.
This is awesome.
Welcome back to the Church of Mabus radio show. This is Jack Nicholson. Going to have a party tonight. That's right. We're having a party tonight. Hey, I was reading about Jack Nicholson, and I checked his IMDb because I love Jack Nicholson. Like I watch all his old movies. I've always liked Jack Nicholson, and he hasn't made a movie since like 2010. And then I researched it, and he said that he's not going to make movies unless they move people or something weird. And then there was some weird possible thing about his memory that they were talking about or something, but something's got to be going on. He hasn't made any, since Anger Management. But hopefully he'll make a few more before he croaks. I love Jack.
Yeah, he's a treasure.
For sure. Hey, next
Such
Friday is Steph Breedlove, Beast of Whitehall, and it's about Bigfoot. It's a documentary he made. Weren't you saying that you had some Bigfoot stories or something, Kirk, or something to do?
Yes, because Whitehall's right next to Vermont. It's probably 20 minutes to the west. And my doctor friend I was talking about before, he's right in the sighting area. He lives in Vermont, and the sighting area goes from Whitehall east into Vermont. And only a few miles away from here. But there isn't sightings around Rutland at all too much.
Well, is Whitehall like one of those weird cities like Willow Creek where they sell like Bigfoot burgers and the Beast of Whitehall pizza?
Yep, they got a statue of it, of him right in the middle of town. They have a law on the books that it's illegal to hunt or shoot Bigfoot. The first place I ever played golf has a Bigfoot on the sign, and the owner of it in I think the 70s had a Bigfoot sighting, and he was right on the golf course. Nice. The documentary is really good if you get a chance to see it. It's The Beast of Whitehall. Oh, this is I actually saw that 4 weeks ago because they played it up here in Whitehall, and the expert for Whitehall is Paul Bartholomew. I should hook you up with him. But he knows all the police sightings that happened in the 70s, and really I saw the statistics at 140 sightings of Bigfoot in this wide area through history. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Well, one thing I think with Bigfoot for sure is John Keel, Richard Gere played him in that movie Mothman Prophecies, but John Keel has often said that he believes this UFO phenomenon is coming from our own Earth, that it's possibly hidden here or multidimensional or coming from another reality on top of our reality. So when it comes to Bigfoot, I've wondered if they're humans on another timeline or something like that. And if you think,
I thought about that too. That kind of makes a little bit of sense.
And there's been a lot of Bigfoot UFO sightings together. We've had Stan Gordon on the show who's wrote some excellent books, and he gathers encounters from Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of UFO Bigfoot stories. And yeah, it sounds kind of a lot of people get
Wait till you see the movie.
What movie?
Wait till you see the Bigfoot movie. Then you'll, they connect it in the movie a lot, and Yeah,
nice.
You'll see. I'll talk to you after you see the movie, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, I actually I have it here, and I've been saving it to watch it like the week of next week. So I'm going to watch it probably this weekend. I want to watch it right before the show, because my memory's terrible. So I wanted to make sure that I saw it like right near the show time, so it'd be fresh in my brain. But I have a copy sitting right here. I'm looking forward to it. I have his first one too, the Minerva one he did. It's real good. I've seen that one. That was really good. I definitely support these guys. We need more documentaries like this. I hope they get
pretty young. They're like young go-getters. It's pretty cool. Seeing them.
Pretty good. I'm really enjoying them. I hope they do a lot of other ones for sure. Was it Small Town Monsters?
Mhm. Yeah. Yep.
Well, one thing I was going to say about Bigfoot is, some of these are interstellar travelers. They have, technology or the know-how to jump between realms or do whatever they're doing, So one phasing in and out is really not that big to think about. If you think about it from an alien perspective, that's probably no big deal with that kind of technology or teleporting or whatever they do.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's stories about people shooting at Bigfoot and they disappear in a flash. And there's just a lot of stories like that kind of points it. And plus, my two psychic Indian friends both said it, and Kat, the one I was dating, everything she's ever told me has been true. Has come to be and everything. Nice.
Where are you meeting all these Native American chicks, man? It's because of the band,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Oh, actually, the second one was one of the musicians in the band. His girlfriend's, that's her mom, and she's Abnaki Indian. She's
nice.
Old lady. But I did meet the other one dating online, and
FarmersOnly.com.
What is it?
FarmersOnly.com.
Oh, Farmers, yeah. No, it's on Match. But Jeffrey, I met 9 different people saying they were psychics, dating online. I was like a magnet. It was happening so much. I was showing my friends, and it just like laughing. We were like, it's ridiculous.
Well, how were you dating online? Were you using a service?
No, it was sites.
Oh, okay.
It was sites. That last girl I dated said it was really horrible. She's a beautiful Cherokee woman, but just her attitude was, just utter ghetto. And that was my last date, and that was like 3 years ago. And I was perturbed because usually when I meet Indians, something special happens. That's meeting Indians that have gotten me into healing, which is my career, actually.
How's it your
but
career?
Yes, and that last one was Match, and I ended up just on Match for a while because that was all the other ones just had nothing I was interested in.
You were you do energy healing now, right?
I do, yeah. Reiki master and deep tissue specialist. Work with real people in a lot of chronic pain. And what I'm using right now is a technique I just developed myself. And it's really effective. It kind of hurts, but that's just because where the knots are in your muscle, they're also squeezing around your nerves, and when you're getting it out, it splashing the pain nerves on and off. But it goes away pretty quickly. So my deep tissue massage is more like deep torture massage. But I get people out of pain. And I'm proud to say, a year and a half ago, one of my massage therapist friends called me up and said one of her clients needed my help. And she said, he's half paralyzed. I'm like, who is it? And she said, it's this guy, Todd, who I graduated high school with, who had a stroke and his left side's paralyzed. But since all his muscles are drooping and stretching on his left side, that's what puts him into hypertension and all the pain, and I know how to get it out, so he pays me to come one visit a month, and I just work on him twice a week, all month long, and take him to Walmart and show him stuff. That's my kind of payback to the universe, is just helping. And there's a few other people that come by that they don't have a lot of money and they're in a lot of pain, and I just said, sit down real quick and I'll work on it.
So I'm curious, with your background in heavy metal music as a singer, and you play some instruments too, right? What are some of the bands that you like personally? Some metal bands that are some of your favorites?
Well, it's funny because jumping from what I just said to this question, the answer Slayer is my top three: Slayer, Metallica, and Iron Maiden.
Hardcore,
yes. Maiden's what got me into playing bass.
Yeah. So who was it? Slayer, Metallica, and who?
And Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. I like Iron Maiden. I like Metallica. I like Iron Maiden. I have Slayer, and I've listened to them some, but I really need to listen to them more. I've never really listen. But my music goes all over the place. One minute I'm listening to R. Carlos Nike, the Native American flute player, and then the next thing, Tool.
That's good stuff.
I just got a hold of Rob Zombie's new album. I like that a lot, too.
Nice.
So it just depends. And sometimes I turn on the New Age channel on my cable and listen to it when I sleep.
Yeah. Usually the music I play when I do massage is classical guitar, because it's not that the New Agey stuff that would be more appropriate for a woman doing the work. But it's like, if it's males, I want them to feel totally comfortable, and I'm dressed up pretty much like a doctor, so. Keeps the income going.
I like soundtracks a lot too, like when I'm writing, Conan soundtrack. When I'm doing work online, putting up articles, and I'm tired, put on the Conan soundtrack, buddy, and it just boom.
Yeah, I think that is a great soundtrack. Are you a fan of the really old Godzilla movies at all?
Yeah, I like those. Yeah.
That is some of the best movie scoring, I think. That's right up there with John Williams, Star Wars theme and all those really good ones. Those old Godzilla movies had awesome music.
Excalibur soundtrack. I love that movie by John Boorman. John Boorman did Deliverance, but he also did Excalibur. I freaking love that King Arthur movie. That's one of my favorites ever.
Right. Hey, here's a good tidbit about music for you. When I got out to my main station, which out in Camp Pendleton, California, when I was in the Marines, they said, just there's your barracks. Go in and go in this squad bay, find a rack and just settle in. And when I got to know everybody in there, the barracks was self-segregated, but the segregation wasn't according to color or culture. The whole thing was segregated by music. They had the rap down at one end, there's white guys down there, and they had the country at the other end. Not too many white guys in there, and then all the rock and roll and the metal, and it was in the middle, and that was a big mix of a lot of people. But I just thought that was, kind of says a lot about culture and society, that separated ourselves just with music.
Definitely. And the bands you played in the past, those were metal bands? Any names you can give us?
No, cover bands. It was cover bands primarily. And well, I can't say that. No, I was definitely with nobody that, would, except for a few people in Rutland would know the names of the bands. What was working with just previously was called Fall of Time, which really goes good with my profile picture.
So what's going on in Vermont, man, with the home of Bernie Sanders? That's right, I'm Bernie or bust. I will not vote for Hillary. I will not vote for Trump. I will write Bernie on the ticket. So you're
Hillary's. I hate to say it, but Hillary, no matter who fucking wins, it's going to be Hillary sitting in that seat because she's already bought into the seat. And I got some actually a few good stories about her. She's mad power hungry. She's now in with Kissinger and Cheney and the so-called Illuminati. And everything's rigged. And I think she may be what starts this human alien war that Werner von Braun used to talk about.
Human alien war. My God, man. Hillary is a cobra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, but, I don't know if you ever heard that. Werner von Braun was the Nazi scientist that they brought over in Operation Paperclip to made up, our NASA program, and he told his assistant, who goes around lectures now, there's going to be three things. It's first we're fighting communism, then we're going to be fighting terrorism, then we're going to be fighting aliens. That's how the people that are in control of everything have everything mapped out for us. And it's, mostly about... Huh?
I was going to say, are they going to make us think that we're fighting aliens when we're not? Like
exactly. False flag, yep.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you're going to ask about there's allegedly the powers that be are going to use some sort of holographic technology to fake an alien invasion to get the rest of the planet to give up what few little freedoms they have in order to take control. So is that what you think is going to happen, or do you think there is an actual alien war about to happen? Because I have information on both, actually.
No alien war. There's probably one of the races that are involved in what's going on for, maybe bad reasons. I mean, you would think with our Illuminati, if they're working with aliens, it's the aliens that are in charge, not us. But, I think, Podesta and Hillary have already been talking about, she's talking about UAPs, It's not UFOs anymore, it's UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Right.
And, some of my scientist friends, I'm like, dude, wouldn't UFO, talking about UFOs, when you're running for president, be, political suicide if you weren't serious? They would joke around that. And the scientists still, those people that they cannot accept information like this into their heads. It's just, bounces right out their eardrum.
What do you know about NASA mission, space shuttle mission STS-48? Do you know anything about that particular mission and the famous video from it?
That long line of that luminous light that all the round ones are flying around?
No, that's the original one. That's 113.
Oh, yeah, so this is the one where it flies in from the right, stops, and then shoots back, and then you see this, pellet gun type, shotgun blast come up through. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's a particle beam or some sort of weapon that's shot from New Zealand or Australia, one of the American bases down there, and there's actually, I think, 7 or 9 different craft in that video, but the one in question comes in, like you said, from the right, and then as soon as there's a little flash, and then when that flash happens, the main UFO article darts off at a 90-degree angle and disappears instantly, and then after that flash, there's a light beam that goes where it would have hit that craft had the craft not left. So, having seen that, some people say that we are already at war with certain alien factions, and that video is fairly good evidence to the fact that we probably are.
It could be just like these guys pretty much saying, "Fuck you, we don't want to," get away from here.
Yeah.
They could be even, good aliens that they're just being douchebags about.
Yeah, it's very possible. The information that I have on the alleged UFO alien war is now in 53. I don't know if you've heard about this, but in 53, President-elect Eisenhower had 2 meetings with several different groups of aliens. The first meeting was the group that they called, we think they called themselves the Anunnaki, and they would help the planet if he could get rid of all of our nuclear weapons, and he said no. And they warned him about the next group that was coming, which would be the Greys, Draconians, and Insectoids, which would meet him next. And they offered him sort of a similar deal, minus getting rid of the weapons, and saying, we'll give you our technology if you let us abduct humans and certain animals for genetic experiments. And he said yes. And later on, he realized that we'd been duped by them, and they didn't give us their end of the agreement. And it's called the Greada Treaty. And so from that point on, he gave word to military bases to go ahead and start taking their weapons and ships from crashings, and to use our high-end targeting radar, which affects their craft, and make them crash and then steal the technology. So from that point on, 55, 56, we've been at war with these creatures.
I mean, fuck, that's as possible as anything, And I would, knowing a little bit more of the reality of what's going on, that sounds possible.
Yeah, it's kind of scary if it really is. Right now it's purely speculation, but the STS-48 video is fairly conclusive that there's a weapon being shot from planet Earth that is not a missile, and it looks like a laser beam or a laser bolt like you might see from a Star Wars, stormtrooper gun.
I know a video that I'm like 99% convinced it's one of our saucers, and it's on YouTube. It's over Denver, Colorado, and it says CNN confirms UFO. Wow. And you see this guy skywatch, sky fishing. Then he gets the phone, comes and plays it in slow motion, and you see this little saucer just flying high speed all over the place, all kinds of stunts and everything. And he brought that to the local news station. He said these things are flying over this part of the city between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock, and they took their TV camera out there, put it up, recorded up in the sky from 12 to 1, came back, played it back slow motion, there it was. And I was watching that a few times, really, like, this is great. He's just absolutely great. And it hit me. I'm like, with the other people talking about they've worked with saucers for the government, the old conspiracy theory that there's a massive underground base under the Denver airport. And then I looked at this video, and all of a sudden, just popping in my head was Air Force pilots hot dogging. Then that time, and I thought, they're flying between 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock. I'm like, the aliens don't fly according to our time, man. That's the military.
Yeah.
So pretty convinced that's one of our saucers. And if you all want, I can send you a couple links of these videos that I'm talking about, so you can all check it out for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'd like to see those.
Yeah, I've seen some really. There's an amazing video from Brazil, and it's a big round red light, and guy ends up focusing on it, and it looks like an eye, like kind of a lizard-like eye, looking around from the inside, while this thing is more pulsing than flashing red. that's also not, because that freaks people out. I mean, it could be literally an eye, and this thing is like a observation platform of some kind from another planet, or it's, it could be, I could be way off.
Have you seen the jellyfish ones? Jellyfish UFOs. Have you ever seen those? I mean, on video.
I'm not sure if what I'm thinking of is what you're saying.
There's like weird aerial air life that's been caught on video. It's like I've seen them before. It's like I've seen an amoeba in the air, like something that looked like it should be in the ocean, but it's not.
You know who Robert Bingham is?
Who?
Robert Bingham, the guy that he calls aliens in. He has contact parties in California. He's like, I'm going to go to this park, and I'm going to... Yeah, so are those kind of the kind of object that you're talking about?
Very similar.
For the jellyfish?
There's stuff out there that seems really legit. That guy, I'm not so sure about. I mean, he may be legit, but there's something in the back of my head I'm not sure about that guy. But,
yeah. I'm thinking like he's done this so much, there's got to be people running around checking for, under that area if he's done any balloon work or anything like that. I think somebody would have caught him by now.
Did you know, have you heard of Prophet Yahweh? The good brother Prophet Yahweh? He's a black guy. And he's a black UFO summoner. He's been on my show before, and he passed away. At first, I thought it was a prank, but I located his family. This was last year, and he died. But he would summon a UFO, but supposedly it was a balloon, or nobody knew really what it was. But he would
those things I think are interdimensional.
He was doing something
and connected to us.
Summoning something. But he also believed all the aliens are black people and are going to come back and kill the white man. So. That interview.
Well, but the reptoids will have none of that.
Hey, I interviewed Prophet Yahweh with Chip Plesher, and Prophet Yahweh goes, "Don't put the holy substance in the doo-doo," and I laughed so hard, like I was crying. This guy, like he was funny, but he was crazy at the same time. But he would just say funny stuff like that. And don't put the holy substance in the doo-doo.
Yeah, that's right. I like those kind of characters.
Yeah, he reminded me of a South Park character. but
yeah.
He was one of those UFO summoners, too, and probably a balloon, but I don't know what it was. But no, one story I've told a lot, I've seen people made out of light leave my house, and after my dad died, I saw a person made out of light in the cloud tops. Like a person, like you or me, but just made completely out of white, goldish, crystalline light. And, well, anyway, we had a shaman on from Peru, and he said in Peru that they meet during certain times of the day and watch the shining ones in the sky. Basically, they watch the light people in the sky. And he said that I was right on, and he said that everything I thought about the light beings and what I thought they were, that they were us, and us from the future. And basically it's what I believe we are without these bodies, or when we're in these bodies. It's like a being of light. Like we're aliens. If you don't believe in aliens, look in the mirror, idiot. You're from somewhere else. If you think you're going to live on it all when you die and exist in another realm and you have some kind of immortal or eternal side to you, then obviously that part of you has probably been around for aeons, forever, for the freaking all of time. So that part of you came from somewhere. So that part of us that came from somewhere else, that would be like an alien, right? And when we die, that part of us is go to where we came from. So that's, and then, I've seen these beings of light with my own eyes leaving my house. And the shaman said that, they meet in Peru to watch them in the sky, and that's pretty much what we are. So for people that don't believe in aliens, I'm like, you're an idiot. Look in the mirror. Oh, I forgot to tell everybody, a sixth grader named Thomas interviewed me on the phone about aliens for his sixth grade class a few days ago.
Oh, nice.
And I can't get the recording from him. I'm like, give me the file because it's funny, it's hilarious. But it went well. I mean, nothing bad happened, but the kid was smart. I was like, dude, I think you're an alien. But
so what do you guys think about all the abductees?
Personally, I think it's a real phenomenon. The real big story that broke was in '61 with Barney and Betty Hill, and years later they started doing the real first hypnotic regression tests to find out what their missing memories were. And I forget the name of that doctor, but John Mack, who's recently passed away, took over from that psychiatrist's work, and I think it was at the University of Massachusetts or Boston, something like that. And they both concluded that it's a for real phenomenon, and that they're real events. They're not dreams. They're not a weird part of the human psyche that's infringing on consciousness. That these things really happened to them. That they really were taken by other world beings, and experiments were tested on them. And the Betty Barney Hill is the best example because she described a procedure that happened to her that we now use with pregnancy in prenatal care called amniocentesis, where they stick a needle in through the navel and take the amniotic fluid and test it for genetic disorders and what have you. We didn't have that in the 60s. We have that now, but back then they didn't have it. And she wasn't pregnant, but they gave her that test regardless. And she also drew what she called a star map.
Yeah, Zeta Reticulum. It was Zeta Reticulum that, teacher in
it's that
Connecticut.
Star, right. And those stars hadn't been discovered yet, and then when they were discovered, they were like, holy cow. That's
the smoking gun that's the smoking gun for Betty and Barney Hill. That's, sure. So I got to meet Kathleen Martin, who's their niece, and she's I think heads MUFON's abduction section, and she has a couple books with Stanton Friedman. And she's there with Deanie Stoner. She's another famous abductee, and that phenomenon, like, very critically thinking. I always knew about Travis Walton. I'm like, that's one that probably happened. I don't think any others really happened. And come to find out, is the exact opposite. All these people are incredibly smart and normal, and they're, what happens to them have all these commonalities, like being in an examination room. That is one thing that, I haven't heard anybody bring that up, but that's the commonality in all of them. All over the world, every culture, you're, all of a sudden you're in an examination room. And a lot of people want to say, hypnotic regression, it can be suggested. And John Mack had a video of this African king of a tribe, no TV, they've never seen anything like that yet. When he interviewed this king, or this chief, I was brought into a vessel, and I was in a room, and everything looked metal, and it was the same thing. And it's just too much coincidence. And I had the pleasure of meeting some of these people firsthand last year, and ended up being friends with one where he and daughter and son have all been abducted, like, one of those everything on the same night type things.
Yeah, and it generally does typically happen within families through generations. Mm-hmm. And the other interesting thing, particularly with Travis Walton, and Jeff has met him and interviewed him. I haven't yet, but his story is also unique because he disappears for 5 straight days. Now, where he disappeared is in the wild. I mean, they were probably a couple hours away from any civilization. They find him 5 days later, and extremely hydrated, but otherwise okay. had he been completely naked when they found him, he was naked. Had he been completely naked that whole 5 days where he was found missing or where he went missing, he would have died of the elements. So something kept him alive for 5 days. If you go 3 days without water, you die. You go 7 or 8 days without food, you die. So he was within moments of passing out dead, and everyone thinks, oh, he's making it up. Why would you, as a regular old blue-collar, common Joe forest worker, come up with this crazy idea just to make money? And he hasn't made any money off of this. I mean, he's been ridiculed his whole life.
Unless you have psychosis, you don't make up shit that, everybody's going to shun you for.
Hey,
exactly.
I've interviewed Travis Walton, and I got caught up in this weird fight between Steve, I can't remember his name, Steve Pierce or something, and one of the people that were there with him. And that Steve Pierce guy started stalking me and going crazy, and I had to tell Travis about it. So now anytime Steve acts weird, I have to tell Travis to let Travis know that this guy's acting weird again. He's one of the original witnesses, and they were in this fight. They fight. They fight all the time. And I wrote an article, and it was crazy. But anyway, I've been caught up in Fire in the Sky drama.
You want to talk about drama? The people behind Rendlesham Forest? Holy cow, that's like a soap opera.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, I've interviewed Larry.
Larry used to. Well, this is another weird little incident. Back in 2013, my massage therapist friend, I ended up going over to their family and having Thanksgiving. Well, I'd known about Rendlesham for a while, but 6 days before Thanksgiving, I finally found this thing with Larry Warren. Larry Warren is getting described, and he was the first one to come out, and he wrote this book, Let the East Gate, and I was like, I gotta get that book. So 6 days later, I'm at Thanksgiving dinner, and of course, I can't control myself, and I end up talking about UFOs, and my friend goes, I've got a book that somebody from Rutland wrote about UFOs, and I'm just like, it just bounced off my head. It didn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, dude, she goes, gets the book. It's Left to Eastgate. And signed by Larry Warren. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, you used to work down at the alley. Yeah. So I got back here after, and I looked his name up, and then boom, 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 there's like 7 people we have in common with friends, mostly musicians. So I ended up friends with Larry and introduced myself and got to be friends and started seeing some.
Oh, go ahead.
But after that event I went to last year, now I'm friends with like John Burroughs and people that there's a lot more people into it, and I see they really do have a soap opera going on over in England between Larry and Jim Peniston and this crazy woman. It's like the biggest question on Earth. Life from outer space came down and landed on Earth, and the military goes out and has this big event where people see this thing and people's lives are changed. And now here, like 30 years later, it's like a fucking afternoon soap opera behind the scenes of it, kind of entertaining.
You ever become friends with the Starborn sisters?
Yep. Last year, that's the event that I went to.
Don't tell them you did this show.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I've had her on before, and we got along fine, but some kind of drama happened or something, and I got in a fight with all these UFO people, MUFON and all this stuff, and an ex of mine. And anyway, they're the people there, the guests and stuff, those are fine, but those two I don't get along with. They went around telling people that I get paid $500 a week from the dark side. And I don't even know what that means. It's like if the dark side pays me $500 a week, somebody owes me a back check. But no, the only thing...
the radio station?
Yeah, well, they're talking about me, I guess. But no, my only thing I would say about them is those two are kind of cultish. But all the people there, like I'm friends with some of the people that are at the speak there and stuff. But that would be my only thing to say is they're kind of culty.
Yeah, I listen to my buddy when it comes to people like that. He's with his experience, he came very deeply psychic and psychokinesis. He's moving shit around, and I'm just like, I ask him about different people that are, I come across with the abduction scenario. I'm like, what do you think, dude? And he's either talked to them or met them, and he's like, no, they're making shit up. And then other people, he's like, that's legit shit.
Yeah, they were saying something about like they got hacked and they had to sell more tickets, and they're blaming the dark side, like the same thing they did with me. Like they have some weird dark side paranoia, like everything's the dark side, but let me use it to my advantage so I can make a couple extra bucks while the dark side's attacking me, and we got to have a ticket sale.
Yeah, that backfires, man. It's like, witchcraft. It's going to bounce back in your face. Unless you just...
I interviewed Travis before, and I asked him, see, here's my thing. I believe alien abductions possibly happen, but I wonder also how much human fear clouds the experience. Because I asked Travis Walton, if you take away the human fear and you say, for instance, you take away that fear, how would your experiences be? He said it'd be a walk in the park. So when I've had my experiences, I've dealt with fear. I didn't want to leave my house for till today. But that's just the thing. I've had, talking to Brent Raines about Native American shamanic initiation. Fear is one of the big things that you have to overcome to move to the next level. So with these abduction cases, I often wonder how much fear, like a lot of people have a scary experience and they run with the fearful experience for the rest of their life and like spread this horror.
That's what's going on with my friend, yeah.
But I mean, if you take away the fear, the way I look at it, if interdimensional beings come down and mess with my prostate, it's probably for a good reason. But I think
that sounds kind of dirty, man.
I just if a lot of the experiences are positive for us, and then a lot of people let their own fear mess it up on some level. But I mean, there may be things doing negative stuff too. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just that's theory, so I run with it.
I'm trying to imagine what do you think about the whole Stan Romanek issue?
Oh my God. Horror show. His lawyers they've threatened to sue me several times. I used to be friends with the Romaneks. I used to be friends with the Romaneks. Like we weren't best friends or anything. They've been on the show a few times, but they wanted me to come to their house and hang out and see their pictures and stuff. I'm really glad I never did. That's all I'm going to say, because when the whole weird child molestation stuff came up with Romanek, bells went on for me. Like he got caught with all that child porn and stuff. I really think I think it would not surprise me if that were true. And then
just knowing them, their personalities, you mean?
Yeah. Another thing that really made me think it could be true is Stan Romanek was in a video and he got caught doing something hoaxful in the video and got caught red-handed. And what happened on the YouTube video is he thought that the cam that was recording him during the radio interview was not watching him at the time, and he threw a pin or something, and he threw it, and he goes, something just happened in here, something paranormal. The aliens just moved something. And he was dead serious that something moved in the room and it was paranormal, when you could see plainly that he threw something and got busted. And the video's out there, and the guy, it went everywhere. I spread it everywhere. That's why they got the lawyers after me. But the other thing is, he, on the show when I interviewed him, he did the same dang thing. He was on the phone. He wasn't on a cam, but he made a weird noise, And he goes, "Oh, it's aliens." So he's a freaking fraud, and it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was some weird kitty fiddling stuff going on. But we're down to 2 minutes, so you don't have any websites or anything you want to plug or anything like that? We got to end this puppy.
Actually going to set up a GoFundMe because I'm losing the family house and getting kicked out, and it kind of revolves around that. That paralyzed friend who would be able to move in if I could do that, and that's going to go up within the next week. And I'll send a link for that to you.
Yeah, just send that to my Facebook, and I'll put it in the group and everything. All right, ma'am. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for doing the show. I know they said Christina Georgica is coming up next. Is that her show, or is it Eileen's show, and she's the guest? I'm confused, so I don't know what the hell's going on. I missed the memo. Oh, Joe told me and I forgot. Okay. Supernatural.
Okay, gentlemen.
Supernatural coming up next with guest Christina George. All right. Thanks, Kirk. Thanks, Jay. Everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see you Friday with Seth Breedlove, Beast of Whitehall. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.